the first one is the watercolours. We'll just refer to them as watercolours from now on, which is this set here. You can see you get 8 watercolour paints in the set, and they're pretty much what you see is what you get. They're what you might think is like a hard watercolour paint. So if you used a solid watercolour palette or anything like that, this is pretty familiar territory. The next one looks a little bit more kind of, could be a little bit more intimidating because there's stuff going on here. You've probably noticed you get 6 paints in this one, but you also get a bottle, a spray bottle and a little brush. Now this isn't a paintbrush, it's a dusting brush. We'll talk about that in a minute. And these are the mica pigments. So we'll call the first one's watercolours, the second one mica pigments, and the third one very similar to the mica pigments, although you'll see that it doesn't have a bottle and it doesn't have a brush. I'll explain that shortly. But these ones we'll call the sparkle pigments. They're very similar, almost identical to this set here, but different enough for us to need to explain that to you. Okay, so right, starting off with the if you're new to painting, I would say the least intimidating ones, the ones that people feel a little bit more comfortable with, are the watercolor sets. As I said, they are what they are. They're solid watercolours, but you do need to do a couple of things. You need to wet them before you start to play with them. Now I have 3 colours here that I've already spritzed. I've sprayed with water. You really do, even though they're small jars, you need to spray them, I would say, 2 or 3 times with some water and leave them for maybe 5 minutes, and then they're ready to play. These ones, you can see straight away. If you take the jar off, I'm not going to take the jar off these ones, I'm just going to show you what they're like in the jar. You can see they're powder. If I hold that up to the camera, hopefully we can focus on that, and you might be able to get that it's a loose powder. Now straight away, if you're the kind of crafty arty type, you'll be thinking that there's more you can do with that. And there is. That's why they gave you a spray bottle and a brush. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to demonstrate these shortly for you. The confusion is between these 2 sets here. This set here, the mica pigments we were mentioning, and these ones here, the sparkle pigments. If you look, you're thinking, okay, they look pretty much similar to me. However, if we get the light on there, and you know what, I think I can even see this on the monitor, that you can see a little bit of sparkle. It looks like it's got a little bit of glitter in there. It's not, it's mica. Now, each set contains the same ingredients. You've got pigment for colour, because that's where it wouldn't be paint without the pigment. You've got mica for the bling, because these are all mica paints. They've all got reflection and bling in them, and they've also all got a binding agent that holds them together as a paint. Now straight away, the binding agent you can see working in the watercolours because they're all stuck together. These 2, however, not, but they still have a binding agent in. It's a powdered resin that once you wet it, it sticks everything together, it becomes a paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how they work. Now there's more you can do with each set. Each set's got its own special power up, but I'm going to put the packs away for a minute, and I'm going to show you how to be able to see how the paints work. I've got a tile, so what I like to do is I like to just take an ordinary round brush, pick some colour up, and you can see, because this is getting all kind of thick and gloopy now because the water has had a chance to stick on there. If you want it more transparent, just add more water, but don't add it to the jar. I like to take a little bit out, put it on your tile, and then add a little bit of water to that if you want to water it down. You want it quite thick because you might not want it as transparent every time. So what I've done is actually, another tip is I've stamped and embossed these. I've stamped it in black ink and I've embossed it because mica likes to sit on black, and because it's solid, it'll sit and you'll lose your nice intense black on the line. If you emboss it, it pushes the paint away from the lined image and you get a much nicer detail on that. So you can see that's as difficult as it needs to get with this. You just add a little bit of water and then go ahead and paint. Now this is like we used to do when we were kids, and if you had your little colouring set. So really familiar territory. And the thing is I thought that maybe because they're quite simple, because you don't get any extra stuff in here like spray bottles, that you couldn't get very fancy with it. But you know what, you can, because I'm going to show on the next demonstration how you can do things like stamping with this set, whereas the others you can't. You can also do background techniques, which again I thought was pretty limiting at first, but with a little bit of play and experimentation, it's all good. So can you see how now that I'm just blending one colour into the next, just wet into wet, and then you get a nice a nice coverage in that. The other thing I'm going to show you is how these look on black card, because the thing is with Cosmic Shimmer, because it's a quality mica product, they use different coloured micas in each colour, and what will happen is when you paint onto white card, you're going to see the pigment more than the mica. The mica is going to give you the reflection when the light hits it, but when you paint onto black card, you actually see predominantly the mica. So it can actually change the colour of your paint completely, and it's a really good way of getting more mileage out of your purchase, because the card, to change a colour card is pence, whereas to buy a new set of paint is a little bit more of a considered purchase. So can you see how well that's covered there? Now the thing is when they dry, you're going to see more reflection in there. So we'll hold that up there, and you might be able to see the bling and reflection. So this time, the paint, obviously I'm not going to spray it because then the whole paint will be ruined. So I'm using a damp brush, pick up a little bit of paint onto my brush, and then take it to your palette and mix it in that way. So it's still paint at the end of the day, and it just goes on just the same way. And I'm going to speed paint this one because I want to show you how the three of them look. A bit out of shot there and a little bit wonky. And again, when they dry, you're going to get more reflection on that. And then the third one, hopefully, when I get to show you the three of them all together, you'll see that there is a difference by the time they've dried. This one, you'll find that when you're painting with it, the sparkle pigments, it's a little bit greeny, and you know what it is. The reason is, and the reason you didn't get the spray bottle in this set was because I mentioned that all three ingredients, all paints had the same three ingredients in them. But the difference is in this one is that the paint, the mica, hasn't been ground as finely. And it's kind of like painting with a cross between a mica paint and a very fine art glitter. It's a little bit grainy, and that's not going to change. That's the nature of the paint, but that's what gives it a different finish. And it actually looks like metallic, or kind of as if it's foiled. It is a totally different finish. You'll be able to see kind of like crystals of glitter in there. Again, same colour palette, but hopefully you're going to see difference in the finishes. This one here is the mica pigment. So again, gorgeous colour. They've all got great reflection. And this one here is the sparkle pigment. These two are going to be quite similar. It's just an application option. This one is all stuck together and gloopy, and you just wet it and paint it like an ordinary paint. This one was the powder one, remember? But this one and this one, we're hoping that you'll see a little bit of a difference in it. This, hopefully, if I can get it close enough, you'll see kind of a glittery kind of, it's more kind of got little fragments in it. And that's the whole point. It's imagine if you'd ground art glitter even further, but not quite as far as a mica. It's kind of the midway point. Cool. What I've done in the meantime is I have, as you can see, painted each of the, using exactly the same colours onto black card, except obviously I've used a white line so you can see it. Now, you'll see that the colours change. That's what I was talking about a quality mica product. The fact that the mica in Cosmic Shimmers isn't all one pearl mica. You can do that and it would be a really inexpensive way of making a mica paint. However, you don't get the reflection, you don't get that interference, that flash of light, and you especially don't get the change in colour once it's on black card. Now what you've got happening here is, I hope that if you can see on the white card, you see the pink around the outside, that especially see the change in that on the end of the edge of the petals. It's pink, it's obviously pink. On here, it's electric blue. That's the wonder of the cosmic, because obviously the mica that's in there is an interference blue mica. It looks like there's no colour there until it either sits on black or the light hits it. So that's the first one. The second one, the mica pigments. So those were the watercolours, these are the mica pigments. You'll see that you actually see even more difference in that one. It looks quite, it looks quite transparent there. You can't really see anything until the light hits it, and then all the mica just comes to life. I love that. That looks rather nice and a really nice effect. And then the third one is the sparkle pigments. Remember, the ones that have the, and this looks absolutely stunning on black. I hope that you can get that. Oh, there, look at, I hope the camera, whoa, let's hope that my video editing does this justice, because that's what I wanted you to see.